Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings and welcome back. As I've gotten older, some of you may have experienced this yourself, and that is when younger, there was the common lamentation of back in my day, fill in the blank. It was better. Government, education, the costs, the wages, entertainment. And the other one is the art imitates life and life imitates art. So as I've been getting older, I have gone for the first one, and that is back in my day, and even previous generations, entertainment was better. And in the case of art imitating life, or life imitating art, I came across an old episode of Get Smart, the Don Adams 1960s about a bumbling secret agent. And this is an episode that actually didn't feature Don Adams. It featured Agent 99, Barbara Feldon, Agent Quigley of the CIA, Bill Dana, and Siegfried, who is infamous for his role as, played by Bernie Kopell, who went on to play the Doctor on The Love Boat. I have no idea what else he's done, but those two shows probably did a pretty decent service for him in terms of a paycheck. But I don't want to get into the weeds of that. What I found interesting was within the first 5 minutes of the episode, there was it was a throwaway line, a gag, if you will. But before I get too deep into that, the internet, as we know, is under attack. It's been under attack. You have the cases of people being arrested for having flag memes or calling out poor government decisions in Great Britain. You now have Nepal in a revolution. You have constant attacks with the nonsense of Nina Jankowicz trying to become an internet czar or a disinformation czar and trying to control opinion. You have threats of clampdowns. You have the Twitter files revealing that the government is in collusion with censoring individuals. So the fact that, all right, the fact that the internet exists is fascinating. The fact that they want to control it isn't as fascinating.
Global warming, military upheavals in the third world, actors elected to public office.
The spread of coffee bars, germs outpacing antibiotics, and boy bands? Come on, who would gain from all this?
Who indeed?
As the question asks, who indeed? Who indeed would benefit from this? There is a growing sense of unease. There is a growing sense of enlightenment of what it is that's involved with American foreign policy. For me, one of the most enlightening and also difficult to accept and read was Confessions of an Economic Hitman. Drawing a blank on the guy that wrote it, but anyway, I read it roughly 15 years ago. I would have to put it down. I'd have to reread sections. I'd have to cross-reference the sections. And at the same, a few years after that is when Cassie J's The Red Pill came out, and I made my conscious decision to cancel my subscriptions, end my subscriptions to the various, platforms. The what was it, Netflix and Hulu. I think I kept Amazon for a while, and eventually I let that fade into the oblivion. But when I made the switch to YouTube, I was surprisingly shocked at the numbers of other individuals who had read the Confessions of an Economic Hitman and their positive evaluation of it. I believe The author was John Perkins. I could be mistaken. If I am, let me know in the comments. There's been other allusions to certain things, and it's not just American foreign policy, it's the Five Eyes, the Nine Eyes, the 14 Eyes, the 15 Eyes, and that is the intel agencies' sharing of information, whether it was the revelation by Snowden with the Vault 7 over, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, um, whether it's been the trickle of disclosure. This is what I found to be extraordinarily fascinating, is that in the 60s, there were warnings and incorporations into popular media.
99, Quigley. The entire world is at the mercy of a madman.
Are we alone on this assignment?
Oh, no, 99. Every nation in the world is joining forces in order to do what must be done to stop this madman. Russia is standing by with nuclear submarines.
Great Britain has offered us air cover.
South America has offered the knowledge of its top German scientists.
And Israel is making sandwiches for the trip.
President Washington made three big political points in his farewell address. First among those is to not become caught up in political parties. Second was not to get caught up in regional identification. For example, Northerner, Southerner, Westerner. His focus was that for Americans, that they focus on being American, not Northerner, not Southerner, not Westerner. Not to be Democrat, Republican, not to be Federalist, not to be Anti-Federalist, not to be Whig, not to be Republican, but to be American. And third was to avoid the intrigues of Europe and the world, not to become involved in foreign entanglements. These are excellent points, in my opinion. And after reading Confessions of an Economic Hitman, as I mentioned earlier, John Perkins, you find that American involvement hasn't been positive. The recent revelation, as in the last 5 years, that yes, Americans are, their government was involved in the 1950s, overthrow of the Iranian Republic with the assistance of the British. And you've got in the 80s the Iran-Contra, and most recently you have Ukraine, Israel, Gaza, Iran, Houthis, Yemen, Saudi Arabia. You've got all these foreign entanglements that make one rightfully question what it means to be an American. And in the 60s, Get Smart was warning by incorporating it into their media. And with our current situation, the attacks on the internet, whether it's in Great Britain for posting a flag meme or questioning its immigration policy, to Nepal and their desires to crack down on social media, you have to begin to question. And I would suggest looking back at pop media over the last half century, 75 years, and see what else has been inserted in there.